In South Africa, manufacturing output decreased by 5.2% in February year-on-year, slightly worse than analyst predictions of a 4.3% to 5% contraction. The largest contributors to the negative print were food and beverages, which decreased by 6.1%, as well as basic iron and steel, non-ferrous metal products, and machinery, which dropped 5.3%, while output in petroleum, chemical products, rubber and plastic products fell 4.7%. According to Statistics South Africa, manufacturing sales for February increased by 2.1% compared with January after a month-on-month decrease of 0.3% in January and 1.9% in December 2022. The largest contributors to the sales increase were motor vehicles, parts and accessories, and other transport equipment at 8.3%. To discuss this, we are joined by Professor Bonke Dumisa, an economist. Thank you for giving us your time. What are the main factors that have led to a decrease in manufacturing output and contracts in South Africa?
Oh, sorry. I muted myself.
Okay.
Good evening and your viewers. I am saying the main contributors, as ZSA has said, it is mainly load shedding. You must remember that the incidence of load shedding increased significantly in the second half of 2022. And then, of course, as we'll discuss later on, there are other structural problems, long-term problems, then that South Africa will have to address in order to deal with this whole issue of manufacturing production, because it has been decreasing significantly for a long time, with the exception of the motor vehicle sector.
How have global economic conditions, trade restrictions, and political instability impacted on the manufacturing sector?
I don't really think that the global economic conditions have impacted so negatively on the manufacturing sector in South Africa. It is mainly a South African problem. As you know, that the Eskom load shedding problem is a South African problem which must be dealt with. Later on, I may even mention some aspects of lawlessness. Let me just mention it now before you even come to it. Let us look at Ford Motor Company in Silverton, Pretoria. It produces 720 cars per day, and it has not produced cars for 2 days because there were criminals who vandalized 7 pylons, electricity pylons, and there's no electricity in that area, so they cannot produce. Can you imagine how many millions of rands this is going to cost Ford Motor manufacturers? So these are some of the things. So we've got load shedding here, we've got lawlessness, and the government has got to deal with them simultaneously once and for all. But there are certain long-term issues that the South African industry must attend to.
Are there any structural issues in the manufacturing sector that could be contributing to the decrease in output and contracts?
Yes, that is what I would really like us to address. What has happened over time is that in the past, you had all over the world, the smaller countries, the developing countries, emerging countries, producing many manufactured goods for export purposes mostly, and then for domestic markets. But what has happened over time as technology changed, most of the emerging countries lost their competitive edge and they relied only on price. But the days of relying only on price are gone, and the manufacturing sector has not improved. So we've seen in South Africa many manufacturers actually closing shop and importing the very same things that they were producing before and then selling them to the South African market. That is not good in the long term for any market, let alone the South African market. And that is frustrating the South African economy.
Quite unfortunate, Professor Dumisa, but we always keep optimism alive. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you.